Hi dear friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Devraj. This is Aksha Dhare and team. I hope you guys are doing great and learning great. Today is 3rd October 2023. So let's start today newspaper reading and please subscribe the channel, like and comment. If you like the video, please share with your friends so it may useful for somebody who are in need of opportunities. Let's start reading the newspaper. Negligence alleged. 24 dead in Nanded hospital in 24 hours. We are not with NDA or India, says Nara Lokesh. Delhi police arrest three on terror charge. India needs an all-weather insurance. It must improve forecast models for early warning. For Lancey and mixed relay team win silver. Medicine Nobel 2023 goes to Dio who paved the way for mRNA COVID vaccine. At 36%, EBC's largest group in Bihar shows a caste study. Yadavs make up at the 14.226% of the state population, says survey released by Bihar government. Nitish says parties with assembly representation will be called for a meeting to apprise them of the figure. Need nationwide caste census, India. Shutdown in ill districts of Manipur over arrest of four. HC rules against quota and minority institutions. State government mulls legal measures against those who spread misinformation about Gandhi. This Kadigram hosted inter-caste wedding of Gandhi's granddaughter. Trinamool begins stir over Daniela funds. Minister flags misuse. Civil society groups demand a repeal of harder limiting protests to freedom walk. Police commissioner had issued the order during previous BJP government. One of the reasons cited was traffic snarls that the protest marches caused. This king Kadigram hosted Manu Gandhi's wedding. High Court dismisses PIL petition on Siddhapura Lotus Pond land rule. Passenger attempts to open emergency exit door of flight arrested. Gandhi Point Canteen inaugurated at BMTC depot. Government to hold meeting with carpooling aggregators. Customs officials intercept two passengers trying to smuggle gold. Welder arrested for attempting to murder wife's blackmailer. Allocation of funds in state Gram Panchayats influenced by the elite, says a World Bank research paper. Funding is at least is least representative of the needs of women and the scheduled castes, a clear indication of an elite basis bias. Government plans to set up Gram Nyayalaya in every Gram Panchayat. See, don't construe dismissal of plea against using photos of ministers in government acts as HC's approval. Kaveri Ro Jala Samrakshana Samiti to continue protest. Invest in home state, party largest entrepreneurs in US. State keen on high quality education in government schools. A book that peeks into the soul of Bengaluru. Bangalore is the smell of red earth and falling rain, of open drains and clogged leaves of startups and Swalpa adjust Madi, writes Shobha Narayan. Shobha Narayan. Personalization of banking services a long way to go. For mightier than this word, Agni Sridhar talks about his stories that have been made into films, including Idhega Reke, which was screened at the recently concluded Indo-French International Film Festival in Bangalore. A fancy Coupa. Hello October. Exploring politics, history and society through dance. Creators Carnival. Karnataka Government Secretariat. Shivamogga stays calm. Prohibitory orders in place. Violence was witnessed at two places in the city during a religious procession on Sunday. Naidu goes on a hunger strike in jail. No evidence of BJP backing a Jagan government in arrest issue. Three policemen booked for torture of Dalit. The narrative of development and populism. Capturing the reins. Let's read this editorial page written by the professor of IIT. On September 14, the Prime Minister laid the foundation stone of projects worth over 50,700 crore in the election-bound state of Madhya Pradesh. This included a petrochemical complex and 10 new industrial projects. He emphasized that this investment would boost the state's development. Just a few days later, on September 18, a major opposition party announced guarantees for the people of Telangana ahead of the assembly elections. These include 2,500 a month financial assistance to women, gas cylinders at 500, free travel for women in state transport buses, schemes promising an annual financial assistance of 15,000 for farmers, a housing scheme with a piece of land and 5 lakh for construction of house for homeless poor, 200 units of free electricity to each poor household, health insurance cover of up to 10 lakh and 5 lakh financial assistance to students from a poor background to pursue higher education. Both these announcements in conjunction show that development populism gain wide circulation before elections and that these two are pitched as pool promises with a call to evaluate the gains emanating with respect to short-term versus long-term benefits. The most common narrative is that development is the long-term ideal and populism is dubbed as myopic, with development retarding effects. The development obsession. There are no two arguments on the need to achieve higher and better development outcomes. However, there exists a need to assess its trajectory and inclusivity to understand the implications for welfare and sustainability. While the need for accelerated development is sold easily as a full promise, the need to take a stock and address unevenness in welfare gains is neither mentioned nor taken up in the post full time period. An easy route to make a development as an appealing proposition for voters is to define it narrowly in terms of visible physical infrastructure. The advantage of such a narrow definition is that it can be easily showcased and achievements can be quantified. This in turn would give an advantage to the incumbent government if the scale of physical infrastructure creation is high. The opposing political parties would then be left with three options: promise an even higher scale of infrastructure creation if voted to power, highlight the unsustainability of the created infrastructure and dub it as failure, and address welfare of some section of the population that is left out through economic populism. Equating development to visible mega infrastructure could over time become a dangerous obsession for two reasons. First, the suitability of such projects for the specific geographic location our users is often overstated without realistically assessing long-term environmental consequences and its implications on the livelihoods of present and future generations. Second, the mechanisms of financing mega infrastructure are often on the assumption of exaggerated revenue accruals from multiplier effects affects the planned costs without any time and cost overrun. The fiscal burden of such a financing modes would start surfacing in the medium term, and addressing it imposes additional cost. Two examples would clarify the above. First, during the period of June 24 to July 10, 2023, over 41 landslides, 29 flash floods, and one cloud burst occurred in Himachal Pradesh amid relentless rain. One could call these as events of climate crisis, but Himachal Pradesh is an active participant in the Reza 2 development through the construction of several highway roads connecting various tourist locations, thereby making the mountain regions fragile and unleashing unplanned urbanization. Uttarakhand faced a big disaster in 2023. Rather than learning from it, the government went on to rebuild the state, which was a rebranding of the state with many heavy projects. The Char Dham Yatra is hyped as a road connectivity that brings millions of people as religious tourists, despite the fact that most places have infrastructure for only a few thousand people. These are two of the many recent examples of projecting mega infrastructure as development symbols, resulting in environmental disasters. The causes of such disaster are not one time, as the easy route of development selected by the policy regimes sets off a spiral of calamities. Second, to assess the fiscal burden, the story of the National Highways Authority of India, the apex body for the construction and management of national highways in the country, is revealing. The total limit of the NHAI stood at 3,42,801 crore as on March 2023, up from 23,797 crore in 2014. The bulk of the debate is 3.27 trillion was contracted between 2017 to 18 and 2021 to 22. The NHAI debate servicing cost will cross 50,000 crore in financial year 28, as the money was raised through bonds in 112 tranches. The last of those will mature in 2050. Apart from debate, the NHAI also has contingent liabilities, most of which are from disputed claims that have been filed by contractors and developers. The fiscal implications of financing development lingers in the system, imposing long-term constraints. These two examples given above highlight the perils of the obsession of symbolizing mega infrastructure as icons of development. Space for populism. Populism has two dimensions, political and economic. According to Dani Roderick, noted political economist of the Harvard University, the distinctive trait of populism is that it claims to represent and speak for the people, which is assumed to be unified by a common interest. This common interest, the popular will, is in turn set against the enemies of the people, minorities and foreigners in the case of the right wing populists, are financial elites in the case of left wing populists. Since they claim to represent the people at large, populists abhor restraints on the political executive. They see limits on the exercise of power as necessarily undermining the popular will. This is the hallmark of political populism, which allows the majority to ride over the rights of the minorities. Economic populists too disfavor restraints on the conduct of economic policy, as restraints in general narrow their policy options. However, the economic policy environment tends to prepare rules and restraints because the short-term interest might dominate when economic policy is largely shaped by political considerations. Rules and restraints serve the purpose of checking those in power from pursuing short sighted policies. But unwavering commitment to rules and restraints may at times serve to advance the interest of narrower groups, enabling them to cement their temporary advantage for reaping long term benefits. Thus, it emerges that while rules and restraints are vital in checking unbridled growth of political populism, a fine blend of rules with discretion is required to curtail the expansion of economic populism. On conventional models of economic growth did not attach much importance to distribution, as it was expected to be an inbuilt consequence of growth. though these models assumed that the benefits of growth would percolate through the trickle down effect. That is, growth is characterized as a high tide that lifts all boats. In this scheme of things, populist redistributive policies do not find a place. However, cross country growth experience shows that the benefits of growth do not trickle down that easily, and some sections of the population become outliers in the growth process. Government led redistribution is needed to reduce the size of such outliers and spread the benefits of growth more evenly. The rationale for economic populism arises in this context. While economic populism imposes physical costs, inappropriate physical infrastructure led development imposes additional costs, especially environmental costs. These costs might work as a binding constraint on subsequent governments. Poor resilience, coupled with an injection of fragility to the environment, results in a sanitation in a situation of a cost of such infrastructure-led development remaining in the system for long. In contrast to narrowly defined and prominently visible mega projects-led development, not all economic populism hurts. At times, it might be the only way for to post tall the dangerous option with physical infrastructure-led development. Criminal law bills and a hollow decolonization. In introducing the three criminal law bills in 2023 and earlier while setting up the Committee for Reforms in Criminal Law in 2020, a lot was said about the decolonization that these bills will bring about. Unfortunately, the bills do very little to decolonize Indian criminal law. They do, however, indicate the continuation and the intensification of colonial style powers. Colonization is broadly a process of oppression where the colonizer become vehicles for the supreme colonial power to fulfill its designs. The subject unquestioningly serves the colonial state and remains at its mercy. Those in power have rights, those without must oblique. At the same time, the colonial state also considers itself to forever be at risk of being victimized by those rules. Therefore, the interest it needs to protect it sees its own, not the subjects, who are not just inferior but also suspicious. This is the fundamental essence of colonial laws to secure and protect the colonial state and not the colonized. The purpose of laws such as the Indian Penal Code 1860, which the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita seeks to replace, was not just the maintain or not just to maintain law and order. It was an opportunity for the colonial state to legitimize through the law its status as a potential victim under threat from the people it colonized, overbroad and constitutionally suspect. A decolonized or a post-colonial law, where when then would necessarily need to reflect the changed relationship between the citizen and the state. And independent people are not to serve but to be served through the state and the government they give themselves. This fundamental shift changes the process of lawmaking and the priorities and purpose of the law. The bills fails these essential requirements both in how they have been brought about and their content. The framework produced by them views citizens with such increased suspicion and mistrust that the state appears to almost be in opposition to the citizens. Through the major changes in the bills run twin threats which severely compromise people and simultaneously harm the state against them. That almost all proposed changes to the BNS see provisions on organized crime, false information, geopolitizing sovereignty acts, endangering sovereignty terrorist acts are overbroad and constitutionally suspect is not just the result of poor drafting. It is an outcome of the state casting the net of what constitutes an offense as wide as possible. which in parallel increases the avenues to use police powers. Many of the new offences are already covered by existing laws, either under special laws or the Indian Penal Code. Adding an additional layer of criminalization, therefore, does nothing except to increase police powers. An expansion of suppression. A notable feature of colonization is suppression in the use of security by giving the executive unchecked police powers. This particular feature is so deeply entrenched that the Indian state has only increased its police powers post independence. The Bharatiya Nagarak Suraksha Sanhita, it repeals the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, expands those powers considerably. For instance, it allows police custody for periods longer than is allowed under the current Criminal Procedure Code. Some provisions of the BNS, such as terrorist acts, allow the police powers that are significantly broader than even those under harsh laws, such as the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The legislative increase in the use of police or police adjacent powers, including through other laws. He is a continuation of colonial powers, not a route for undoing them. Enough has been written about the police and prison being relics of colonization. At the decolonization that the bills seek to achieve provides no scope for the reform without reorienting the fundamental perspective of these institutions. Though calls for decolonization will remain vacuous. The hope of decolonization will remain unfulfilled because the state has not indicated, either now or earlier, the willingness to audit and reimagine these essential instrumentalities of colonial power. Increasing terms of punishments across the board, as the BNS does, while broadening police powers, borrows heavily from the logic of colonial criminal law. What this means for India's severely overcrowded prisons and the implications on policy, how who and on whom are either non considerations or overlooked considerations. In perspective, the narrative of decolonization surrounding the bills must not be seen in isolation from developments in other areas of criminal law that are contemporaneously pushing us back into colonial ways and outcomes of lawmaking. For instance, laws such as the Criminal Procedure Identification Act of 2022, which authorizes the police to take as measurements of convicts, accused, and even those taken into custody for preventive detention. Further, the aim of colonization increased surveillance of the populace and increased control by the state. Though the idea of decolonization must be seen in opposition to colonization, that is not all it is. It is an optimistic endeavor brimming with the promise of a people shaping their own destinies. It gives effect to reordered relationships between the state and citizen. It honors and centers the citizenry, but hidden behind the rhetoric of decolonization of the criminal law bills lie exaggerated anxieties of colonial rule. It was written by research assistants by Pulkit Goyal. Let's go to the next page. Gold Rush. Building bricks for the future. The BJP's gamble in Tamil Nadu. Without the AIADMK, the party may find it difficult to win in at least a few seats. World reported twice as many cholera cases in 2022 as in 2021. WHO. Most cholera cases continue to be reported from Africa and Asia, with Europe accounting for a few reported cases. Delhi police arrest three on terror-related charge. EBC's largest group in Bihar shows cast study. Noble for who paved a way for COVID vaccine. IAF likely to induct Astra BVR air-to-air missile by year-end. Gandhi's lessons on sustainability, a guiding light. Six, including minors, killed over property dispute in Uttar Pradesh. RTI queries reveal several irregularities in MG and IGS execution in West Bengal. Trinamool stirred a ploy to distract attention from scams. Thakur. Bihar caste survey may throw a challenge to 50% quota limit. Opposition parties will up the ante for increasing preservation for the OBCs considering their population. They may also demand sub-quota in women's reservation. Completion of the study will raise Nitish Kumar stock in the India's bloc. Rahul Gandhi face obeisance at Golden Temple. Does Seva? Ajay Mauken's appointment as Congress treasurer shows Rahul Gandhi's influence. India reiterates a demand for nationwide caste census. Lakhimpur Kheri killings farmers to observe Black Day. 24 dead in Nanded hospital in 24 skin alleged negligence. 12 newborn babies among those dead at the government institution. The deaths are attributed to a shortage of medicines and medical assistance, exacerbated by inadequate healthcare facilities, lack of medical staff, and sudden influx of patients. Mining company owner among six killed in plane crash. Key action of mementos received by PM begins. Heavy rain, lightning kills 8 people in Jharkhand. Activists seek action unofficial for abating a boycott of Dalit ration shop owner. WHO approves use of malaria vaccine with adjuvant tech. NMC inspection finds 246 medical colleges without adequate number of faculty. Working with Zeal. Revision to July fuel shipments value lifts overall exports figure. Good exports revised out upwards by 2.3 billion to 34.5 billion dollar, 52 billion dollar by as petroleum tally raised by 51%. Revision narrows trade deficit to a 3-month low. Firms get more time to address rumors. Beatrice to sell Indian API women's healthcare units. Nimmagadha Prasad backed iQuest emerged as preferred investor following a feed bid for API business. GJEPC assures G7 and sanctions compliance. James laid up workers start hunger strike. Nihilent to go global with its demand forecasting tool. Co-founder of RIL backed Dunjo quits head up Rejik. UK comedian Russell Brand faces a second police inquiry, reports. 3 children among 10 killed in Mexico church roof collapse. US and Philippines begin annual drills in disputed South China Sea. Fire at a police headquarters building in Egypt injures 45. After Mujahideen jailed Maldivian leader Amin is transported to house arrest. Trump attends court, calls New York fraud trial a scam. The former US president is accused of misstating his wealth in financial statements. If found guilty, the business mogul turned politician stands to lose some of his most prized possessions. Turkey eats targets in Iraq after Ankara bombing. EU pledges long-term support for Ukraine at foreign ministers meeting. Pakistan inflation rises to 31.4% year on year amid high energy prices. Synthesis wins the Coromandel Gromar Deccan Derby with ease. Akanksha sails past Shahira. Ishak overcomes Dhruva. Parallel steals the spotlight, lands a silver in 3000 meters steeplechase. Karthika Arathi and Iral clinch bronze in skating. Indian men roller skaters finish third in 3000-meter relay race. Srikanth and Satvik Chirag pair advance in badminton. Chinese Taipo women's kabaddi team rallies to draw against India. Swapna outburst tweet leaves in Nandini upset and fuming. Sutirth and Aika lose team. Australia's bowling unit not quite as well settled as it would like it to be. Kavirappa spinners leave Saurashtra bruised. Kohli skips optional practice session. Matthews smashes a century in West Indies record chase. Ancelotti returns to Napoli with a point to prove. Cummings lost gasp effort gives Mohan big bag and pull points. Patil welcomes Ashwin's inclusion. Second setup medalist felicitated. Ground survey as the AICC ODI World Cup is all set to be held in India from October 5 to November 19. An in-depth look at the venues which will host the cricketing extravaganza. Today we feature Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore. What are the Lagrange points and why is Aditya L1 led to 1? Lagrange points offer ideal parking spots for satellites and are home to several astronomical observatories. Named for French mathematician Joseph Louis Lagrange, whose research elucidated the existence of these points. They are also being explored as sites of future space colonies. This is about the Nobel Prize for 2023 will be announced this week. Last two pages, text and context. Number of dengue deaths in Bangladesh. The Indian cities in world's top 10 nations with the slowest topic. The amount investors lost in Himachal Pradesh to crypto. The fall of diesel sales in India in September due to monsoon. The growth in power consumption in September. Counting deaths in India's prisons. How does the official prison statistics at India report label natural and unnatural deaths? Why do courts and experts think this classification is vague? Is the lack of space in prison facilities one of the leading factors resulting in custodial deaths? The deaths of inmates in prison in 2021. The advent of franchisee politics in West Bengal. A form of politics where the main party leader uses their influence and outsources social control to community leaders and local control to grassroots bosses of the party. Why is the Nobel Prize announcements for 2023 having begun on October 2? Test yourself on your knowledge of the prestigious honor. This is about the today news, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed the newspaper reading. Please continue for 2 hours daily to make you better in communication. And please subscribe the channel, like and comment if you like the video. Please share with your friends so it may be useful for somebody's. See you in the upcoming videos, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.